kids, welcome to this week's episode of Let's Draw. Today we're going to be drawing this Zentangle chameleon. What's really cool about this week's artwork is that after we've drawn our chameleon, we'll be able to add in our own Zentangle patterns. What's a Zentangle, you ask? Good question. When you relax and just let your mind wander and draw and create any sort of a pattern, that is a Zentangle. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, let's take a closer look at what we're going to need today. For today, we're going to need a light blue pencil, a sharpener, some black markers, thick and thin, and a whole heap of colour pencils. Now just remember, if you don't have any of these things, you can just use whatever you've got available from home. Alright, who's ready to start drawing? I know I am. Say it with me then. 1, 2, 3, let's draw! So for today's drawing, I'm going to be sketching using a light blue pencil. I'm going to use a pencil instead of a grey lead because we're going to be blending in colours later on. So as you can see, I'm starting out with the head of the chameleon. So I'm going to sketch it out lightly first. Now just remember, you can stop and pause this video as you need as you sketch. So if I'm sketching too fast, you can always pause the video and watch what I'm doing step by step. I'm now going to draw a curved line for the body, so I just sketch it out lightly first, and then once I know where it's going to go, I can darken that line up. I'm now going to draw a horizontal line across the page, and this is going to be the tree branch that the chameleon is laying on. I'm now going to draw a long curved spiral line for the chameleon's tail, and as I draw my chameleon, I can then darken up my lines as I go. Next will be the chameleon's eye, so I do a large circle shape, and then I'll do a series of smaller circles inside of that for the eye. You'll see as I sketch, I like to go over and darken up my lines as I'm happy with where things are. I'm going to sketch the legs now. You'll see that I don't get every line exactly where I want it, but that's okay. Because I'm sketching in a colour pencil, later on when I start to add my colour, because I'm using a light blue pencil, you won't see any of those mistakes. So it's okay to sketch it out first, and because it's a light blue, it will then blend in with the darker colours that I add later. So I'm now just darkening up my horizontal line. So this is going to be the tree branch that the chameleon's sitting on. So as I sketch things out lightly, when I'm happy with where things are, I can go back over and darken up that line. I'm going to finish off the branch that the chameleon is sitting on now, so going to run a second horizontal line with a little bit of a branch coming off of that as well. So now that I've started to sketch out where everything's going to go, I'm going to just finalize some of my lines. So sketching back over with darker blue lines to just make sure I know where everything's going to go. I'm also going to add in 2 more legs, and these 2 legs are going to be behind the other two legs. So they're dangling down on the other side of the branch. So they'll be slightly shorter than the first set of legs. And I'm going to go in and just add in any other little details that I want to add in and just sketch out all the rest of my lines. Remember, of course, if I don't like where I've drawn something, I can always redraw over it and darken it up, because all of those colours will blend in later on when I start to add in other colour. Having sketched out our chameleon, I'm now going to get out a thick black marker and I'm going to outline. For the smaller details on the chameleon's face, such as the nostril and the eye, I'm going to use a finer black marker. The finer black marker is really great for smaller details and really fine lines, so it's a bit of a contrast to our thicker black lines that we have. So you can see here I'm adding in some finer lines for some detail on the tree branch. Before adding in our Zentangles, I'm going to use the fine black marker to create some spaces and sections inside of our Chameleon that will add those Zentangles to. As I start to add my Zentangle patterns, you can copy and do the same sorts of Zentangles as I'm doing, or you can completely create your own. If you Google image search Zentangle patterns, you will find that there are literally thousands of different types of patterns that you can use. So feel free to come up with and relax your mind and relax your hand and just sketch and doodle your own Zentangles, or you can follow along and copy and do the same as me. As I sketch and draw my Zentangles, you will notice that I will swap between both my fine and my thick black marker. For me, I think that the best Zentangles are the ones that alternate between light and dark. So by having thin lines, you can sketch out and draw little fine details, and then use the thick black marker to add in some dark black shading and to thicken up some lines. So not every line, but some lines. That way you've got a really good contrast, and then the smaller fine details will stand out, and those thick black lines and the darker shading will then emphasize and make everything really stand out and look really great. So by adding in that darker shading around my patterns, it really helps them to stand out. So you'll see here I'm going to alternate between a light and a dark black marker, and that's just going to help my patterns stand out. As I add in the rest of my Zentangle patterns and details, I'm going to speed the video up now, so it'll be a lot quicker as I draw the rest of them. But just remember, if you're copying along with me, you can pause the video at any time, rewind if you need to, and then you can draw a little bit and then pause it again, and then draw a little bit and then pause it again, and keep on going that way. So I'm going to speed up the video and I'll see you on the other side. Alrighty, now that we've finished our Zentangles, I'm going to add in some shading. Now rather than using a black marker to add deep black shadow, instead I'm going to use our fine black marker and add in some cross hatching. So by using cross hatching, I can go over our Zentangle patterns and we won't lose any of that detail. So we can still see all of our patterns, but it also adds in a little bit of shading to our drawing. It's time to colour. So, because we used a blue pencil to sketch out our drawing, you'll see that by blending in our colours over the top, that blue pencil is going to blend in, so it's not going to stand out. If we had have used grey lead, then that grey lead would mix in with our colours and would sort of make it really dirty and yucky. So that's why we ended up using a blue colour pencil rather than grey lead to sketch out our drawing. So as I colour in my chameleon, you'll see that I use various different colour combinations. So I might use different shades of the same colour, so different shades of pink or green. I might even use different colours that are opposite each other, so you might have oranges and blues, or purples and yellows, reds and greens. You can use those combinations, or you can use your own. You could have yours as rainbow coloured. Whatever works for you is completely fine, because remember, chameleons are very colourful. So you can experiment with your own colour combinations or do the same as me. And that's it, we're done. I hope you had a lot of fun creating your own Zentangle chameleon today. And I can't wait to see yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, stay creative.